Always very much sketchy at this stage in the game for this kind of a character. And again, spike clubs, so much worse than the regular kind, of course. No problem dealing with that whatsoever. Terrifying to come up against a normal clubbed ogre, but one with a giant menacing spike club? Please. Can't even sack Telly for Rue? No, it's too dangerous. Even Rue wouldn't ask for such madness. Only Maxwell, but they are a mad inventor, so I mean, what else would you expect, really? You'll notice that I'm putting all of our attribute points into intelligence. I think we will be pivoting into using a decent amount of spells at some point in the run here, just to supplement our archery. Specifically for AoE. Archery is fantastic, where it really starts to fall off, unless you get very lucky with your pickups. It starts to fall off around the time where you really need that blast area of effect damage. Of course, the caveat that I was kind of throwing in there is that if you find yourself with the storm bow with penetrative shots, then you're maybe looking slightly more comfortable. But you can never reliably find those fancy unrend arts, so we'll build up whatever short-term solutions we can, and fortunately, we do see Fedhas available here, so let's run over to this lovely son of a gun. And let's give this another shot, shall we? Something that we didn't see too much of last time around, but we may on this attempt, is that you saw that Fedhas, or joining Fedhas, gives us friendship with all plants in the dungeon. This includes things like oak club plants. So if we find, a scary vault and lair with those sons of guns, we can actually get in for free. And not only that, we can also lead enemies there and get the oak clubs to take our side. So that is a pretty fantastic advantage. Bit situational, but hopefully we can find those exact scenarios where it gets to truly shine. And see how it all goes down. +2 Morningstar. +5 Flail. Don't love that. Especially since this first white is actually hurting quite a bit more than I would have liked. But the quarterstaff carrying us through on this son of gun, no problem. Rue asked for courage though, that might be even more dangerous. Definitely in its own situation. A lot of Rue's sacrifices can be absolutely terrifying if you don't have the right character for it. Even sacrificing love is something that hurts me on the inside because I love Box of Beasts and Scroll of Summoning so much. It's one of those interesting things now that Okawaru prevents you from calling allies. I think that really added an interesting balance into Okawaru that wasn't there previously. But we're doing it, the Ranger build, we're gonna try our best. We didn't manage to show it off quite well enough last time. Died a little bit too early, so we need to give Fedhas the shot they deserve in life. And hopefully we can show off some of those skills, maybe even build ourselves an army of all clubs to take care of Zot 5. Wouldn't that be nice? Hello friends, if the shaman could come forward, thank you, I appreciate it. The rest of these buddies we can take care of one by one just to play it safe. Null's no longer the threat they once were on D2 or whatnot, but still need to make sure we're not getting too dangerous. The Book of Scorching has Scorch and Summon Giant Cactus. I went to read it because I noticed that it was Summon Giant Cactus and Scorch, and I was hoping that it would be some kind of desert themed book. Apparently, that's just what Scorching is all about. Oka wants your love? Yes, a very greedy lover. Can't share whatsoever. Maybe that's an unfair connotation, though. More so just a monogamous god, right? Very much wants to know that you are as committed as they are. Which is only fair, I guess, if they're going to be giving us crappy gifts for the rest of our life that we don't really appreciate. Then might as well show some love back. Especially since Oka now gives you a ride whenever you ask for it to their own duel arena, so that's pretty thoughtful and nice of them. Oka's a good dad. Do I ever read books before picking them up? Some of them have nice lore. Not often enough. In fact, in general, I don't read a lot of the flavor text in the game, so when it does kind of jump out at me, I'm always pleasantly surprised. Like, even just, you know, relatively recently learning that Arug has bad eyesight and thinks that we're the harpy that took her eye adds so much fun flavor to the game, and I very much love the aspect of it, or that aspect of it, I should say. So I should take more time in general to make sure I read all those. A good time to do something like that would probably be on a Trog run, because that way you're not going to accidentally pick anything up with the auto grab. Instead, just... Oops. Hello, my Knoll friend. Goodbye. Oh, drank a potion of might. Did you have any to share with your friends? No? That's fine. But, oh, a Cloak of Poison Resistance is absolutely stellar. I was hoping to spend some money and buy the Willpower Cloak. Still might happen in the future, but for the time being, I'd much rather have this fantastic poison resistance. That will help us stay alive against a lot of these kind of mid-level dungeon threats. Also switching to using the bow a little bit more judiciously here, just because we do have over 140 arrows now. Hello, hen Stefani. That was one of the poor Tengus that didn't make it very far, unfortunately. Kind of sad to see you, bud. But maybe, just maybe, we can twist your misfortune into a good piece of luck for our current character. Wouldn't that be nice? Let's get back on the road again. Hello, my howling friend. Having just gone through one of our tournament runs with the Shield of the Gong. Definitely used to seeing a lot more noise than just a baby howler, so can't complain there. This Orc Warrior, though, definitely something I would like to file complaints with the manager about, because geez Louise. How do I even get to my upstairs? I'm up here, there we go. I have to zoom out for a moment there just to get my bearings once more. And unfortunately, I don't know if there's a lot I can do against this buddy right now. My best bet would probably be to close the gap and just try and whack away with our quarterstaff. But it's also a scary idea, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. Let's try it out. Getting ready to walk away at a moment's notice, but fantastic. We see that we do have just enough damage output to beat the Orc Warrior at their own game, and you do love to see it. And now we're hoping to see, at some point in the near future, an upgrade for our bow. Now that we have poison resistance, the bees should be much less of a problem than they once were. Though still taking care not to become surrounded, because any amount of physical damage is too much on a deep elf. And that is great. Yes, we're on the lookout for a greater bow here, so that we can potentially try and kill enemies before they start whacking away on ourselves. Still don't exactly have the best survival odds in any given scenario. So that would be nice to get a little bit more ranged killing power. Definitely throw on a pair of gloves and a ring of poison resistance. Okay, so now I do probably want to plop my way back up to the shop and buy this other cloak. It's technically not a huge rush to do it. It's unlikely that we find willpower enemies this early, but it's also fairly unlikely that we come across too many more shops. At least right away here before we're able to replenish our funds to a decent degree. So let's do it. We'll buy this cloak. Was our inventory too full and it was thrown on the ground? Oh my gosh, butterfly, please. Please move, I don't want to kill you. No, I was just blind. Now I see the cloak. Let's put that son of a gun on. We'll also drop some of the useless stuff from our inventory, both the small blades. Even stones can probably go by this stage. It's not looking like we're going to pivot into any kind of sling build. And one of the wizardry rings as well. Last but not least, switching out the Ring of Strength for the poison resistance. And that's fantastic. Let's get back to it. Oh gosh. Butterfly, please go back your direction so I don't have to kill an innocent today. Please leave me so I don't have to kill an innocent today. There we go. Thank you, Butterfly. Appreciate it. I mean, it is your own life, so I'd hope that you would be reasonable about it. That is not always the case. 2 willpower is sick, though. Agreed. Yeah, in the early game here, especially if we come across any Sigmunds, could even potentially go back up and kill Grinder now that we have the willpower to get through the paralysis. But I'm not in a huge rush to throw myself at Grinder's mercy. Some nice fellows spectating your games during the tournament and gave lots of great advice, and you learned lots from them. That's awesome. In general, that's a huge advantage to playing online. It is such a beautiful community that plays the game, and everyone's really eager to give out advice and be helpful. So yeah, if you are ever looking for a helping hand, I know even posting in the different community boards like Reddit, I'm pretty sure there's a Discord as well, but you can usually find one of the more experienced players who is happy to meet up sometime and just actively join your run at a specific time to make sure that you get that advice when you need it most. So definitely a good resource to use when you're first learning the game, for sure. Take advantage of all the fantastic people that are part of the community here. And a treasure trove that needs 8 scrolls of blinking, so that's just a useless door that we'll never access. Good to know. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to switch to my bow and get in some pot shots. Much better. Still scary. Still very scary, but it's better. Oh, that 2-headed ogre, also very scary. Broadaxe of Flaming, I wish I was playing on a different character. We're getting all the melee weapons one could possibly desire in life on a character that is much too flimsy to actually take advantage of them with. Oh, and a gargoyle. Well, D10 is turning out to be quite an interesting spot. An eclectic mix of monsters all hanging out together. That stone arrow is going to be very rough. We do have some acid, so we can at least corrode the gargoyle's armor. Maybe. Corrode. Not that time. Let's try corrode the gargoyle's armor. Fantastic. And that makes it slightly more tenable. Indeed, we managed to get through the fight in one piece, surprisingly enough. Oh gosh. You, if I'm guessing, are not going to be quite as forgiving, so let's immediately read a teleport and get out of the dead end that we found ourselves in. And, you know, I'm kind of sad that there was the stuff to auto pick up here that brought us back this way, because I actually wanted to very much avoid this section of the dungeon if possible. Never mind, there you are. Here's what we're going to do. Let's wait one turn. Now I'm going to try and paralyze this son of a gun. Not great odds, but we have enough distance here. We can potentially get it to pop off, and we just need to kill you before you wake up. Oh boy. You hate to see it. Oh my gosh, it was a different 2-headed ogre? Excuse me? Pardon me, game? Well, in that case, I'm scared because we don't have the distance that I require for my own sanity in order to try and get you paralyzed once more. Now we're getting cut off by a bee as long as it's not at a choke point. You know what? I'm just gonna have to teleport, unfortunately. I was hoping to just run to a stairwell and make it upstairs before anything too challenging happened, but no such luck. And now we do have enough distance for me to get a little bit riskier with it, at least until we're back to one gap away. And then it's back to running for our lives like the brave elf we are. Don't really want to run into our bee friend again, but our stairs are all the way down there. Probably heading for this trapdoor if possible. It does run the risk of running into more enemies and boxing ourselves in, but I'm hoping that just the bee will follow us, and that's okay with me. Fantastic. Whew. Used to not train Evo enough, or at all to be exact. That's definitely a lesson that I learned very distinctly at one point in my DCSS journey as well. Because nowadays, it's my first go-to skill to learn on basically every character because I love evocations so much, especially all the rechargeable things. Having a condenser vein with good evocations is absolutely huge for taking out enemies. Especially if you're playing a more melee-based build, but even on a spellcaster, it's going to be a bit trickier because you have less experience to spread around. You do have to focus down those spell schools in order to get the magic castable. But that aside, if you're able to spare the experience for evocations, it's worth it on any given character for sure. Jeez Louise, definitely don't want to be taking out a couple of centaurs at range. Actually, a few centaurs at the end of the day. It's up to 259 arrows, holy moly. Now I'm really hoping for that sweet bow to push us over the edge. I should also double check on our bow here that we're almost at the cap, so I'm going to use S to set the limit on that. Similarly, I should pop into our staff here and do minimum delays at level 14. Why does the staff not allow me to use the S key? Regardless, we can just go into this manually here. Let's pop into staves and set it to 14. Oh, maybe it did work and it's just not as obvious of a notation there. Or I'm missing something, which is very likely to be true. Should also set a quick cap on fighting, and probably going to start training invocations pretty soon. By the time we want Bedhas's abilities online, we'll want to already have that trained to a certain level. I probably shouldn't fight a troll, but I'm going to. The Staff of Draining is going to be the death of me. Makes me far too confident in our melee abilities for a squishy little boy like ourselves. Hello friends, if you could come right this way. One-on-one, I think we can take a whole pack of yaks. Yak pack attack. It's no problem for us, but oh my gosh. Continuing the trend that we saw earlier of getting all the most ridiculous fire spells, we now also have Fireball and Ignition added to our book, so I am almost definitely going to be learning some magic at some point here. And in fact, how soon do I want to do that? Our attack delay is at 0.7, so I might actually turn off staves for now. Why do I train more than one skill at once? So yeah, that's true. If you really want to just focus down on one thing, it is better to do one skill at a time. I feel like I used to do one skill at a time more often, but I have become a bit more lazy. So maybe that's the quicker answer instead of going on the long deluge of words here. Mostly because I'm lazy. But part of it is that I do want all of these hitting certain thresholds at around the same time, so that we're making sure that our bows are still usable. Invocations is a good background skill. I oftentimes use the focus for that reason, because I like having some backburner skills that I want to see, ticking up just over time. So by the time we need them, they're at a good point. And while focusing down the skills that would normally be the only one that you had on, kind of if you were a little bit more strict in your delegation for skill training. But I'm definitely more of a fan of spreading out a little bit and making sure that things are just hitting at the right time. And as long as we're getting that goal sorted, then otherwise I'm pretty okay to throw some experience around the entire table. Let's see. Not great odds of blowing your mind, unfortunately. So I think we will just go with another acid. We do have fire resistance. No, we do not. Wait a second. Why did I think we have fire resistance? Oh gosh. Let's drink potion of resistance real quick. Yeah, you definitely hit too hard, my friend. So you can also drink a telly. The resistance was just to make sure we didn't get killed in the turn we were reading, and because the ugly things move a bit quicker than us, gotta make sure that we can take that extra step away. Oh gosh. Hoping to get back into this hallway. Fantastic. That should do us much better here. Next time I see that priest, I would like to get some piercing action going with the acid wand. Or if you walk right up to me, that works too. I appreciate it. Makes my life a whole lot easier when the enemies are friendly like that. Now we can just get back on the road. I'm still very much concerned about this son of a gun over here. The ugly thing is going to be a little bit of a thorn in our side, a bane of our existence. But we'll have to see how she goes. And we're out of paralysis charges for taking care of our two-headed friend here. Unfortunately, we go down in far fewer hits than I feel comfortable with. We could take the same route that we did earlier against one of the orc warriors and just try and close the gap and kill the two-headed ogre. Go for a little bit more of a risky but lethal strategy. I guess lethal in one way or another at the very least. Let's see, is there anything else I could do? I could charm you and tell you to run away. It's a good temporary solution. So we charm you and then we just say to retreat this direction if you'd be so kind. And I will not follow you. Oh, but I will come about it a different direction or a different way, apparently. Whoopsie daisies. Let's maybe not trust Auto Explorer and we'll instead start walking around on our own just to make sure that we don't head headfirst into danger. Since we now have a couple of different areas that seem to be a risk, to say the least, a little bit scary. We have found our lair entrance, so we could stop exploring the dungeon, and in fact, I think we will. Oh, how did you end up all the way over here, my two-headed friend? Please don't do that. But should be a-okay as we'll just walk back to this stairwell instead, head upstairs, and let's take me to lair, please and thank you. Oh, it's right there. How about that? And before we plop down, let's do another inventory assessment, since it has been a little bit since we checked over what kind of options we have at our disposal. We did pick up a Staff of Cold. Not super useful. If we need the cold resistance, I guess, it's good to know. Ooh, Ring of Protection. Now this is why we do these checks. I'm going to put that on in exchange for my dexterity ring. That sounds good to me. And I do believe that we have a decent number of ID scrolls, 3 in fact. So let's start reading those Sons of Guns and hopefully get heal wounds. ID'd? No? Not today? Not today, unfortunately. So none of our beautiful stacks of potions are the ID that we so crave. It should be a-okay. Hopefully the quarterstaff can carry us through the majority of lair here. You can see our lovely Oak Club friend here. Oh, okay, so that confirms you don't actually fight for us, you just don't fight against us because we're friends. Good to know. A very subtle but very important distinction in life, to say the least. But very nice that we can just walk by. We won't have to worry about needing that stairwell, as most characters would have. And I'm crossing my fingers that we come across one of the little like treasure vaults that are being guarded by an eucalypt plant. So we're one of the few characters again that can fully take advantage of those risk-free, and it puts us in a pretty good spot. Blink frogs, real pain in the butt once you get below that half health threshold and can no longer auto fight, but maybe could have avoided that problem in the first place by not auto fighting quite so much against a slightly scary opponent. Get turned to stone, but as long as nothing else is nearby, I'm not feeling too worried or concerned about that. And indeed, we can just kill that son of a gun and move on until we fall down a shaft and things get interesting again. Staff of Poison, eh? If we didn't already have the poison resistance ring, could have been a huge find just to give us that much needed resistance. As is, I'm not too concerned about it. We will pop back out here. Now we have a couple of ID scrolls. See what else we have at our disposal. 5 scrolls of silence is actually very nice. Getting marked on an unexplored level is not very nice, on the other hand. So I'm going to read a teleport. Fortunately, our mark is still around for the first couple turns after the teleport. But as long as nobody noticed us, especially you, 5-headed Hydra, please don't notice me. Thank you, I appreciate it. And let's hope we find some stairs up. Wouldn't that be nice? Hey game, wouldn't that be pretty swell? Don't like that Auto Explorer took us back to where we last saw 5-headed Hydra, but I'm guessing there's not a lot of safe recourse that we could have taken anyway, so it is what it is. Those Komodo dragons are absolute beasts, unfortunately. Let's quickly throw out another ID scroll here, pop upstairs. Divine Exegesis is a pretty fun ability, super fun. Being able to whip out those level 9 spells at any given moment, absolutely fantastic. Especially for certain spells, if you have something like Bjorgnir's Revivification or Death's Door in your backup spellbook, then Divine Exegesis can just literally be a get out jail free card. Save my life, I'm good to go. Completely saved. You have to be careful how often you use it, but fortunately with a piety based ability like that, you're already slightly limited, right? So I feel like it works out nicely and makes sure that you're pacing something like Bjornir's Revivification, I guess is what I was thinking, where it reduces your max HP anytime you use it. But regardless, it is an incredible spell. Okay, now do the mushrooms help us? They always help us by just supporting us. They're showing their show of support, showing their friendship off, and that's all one can really ask for in life, right? The support of our peers. Because that's the one thing about worshipping Fedhas, is we are now just on a peer-to-peer level with all these lovely bushes. Let's drop some of our garbage here as our inventory starts to fill up a little bit too much. Fortunately, we do have a lot of trash still lying around, so it's not too difficult of a predicament. And Komodo Dragon, much less scary this time around, so that's good. That's good. Dragon's Call is also nice in certain situations. Just having the open-ended nature, right? Anything from your unlearned spells you can cast, so beautiful, so fantastic. And yeah, it's cool because it also allows you to do some creative things. You can take Sif Muna on a non-spellcaster, which in general, maybe not recommendable. But if you have some other reason why you may want mana, say you are hugely leaning on something like Guardian Spirit, maybe you're a Vine Stalker and you have that natural Guardian Spirit ability, or I guess Demon Spawns might have recourse to do the same, but you don't even have to be a spellcaster. You could end up learning after Sif Muna, and then you can cast level 9 spells with absolutely zero training. So that's a bit of a wacky and wild use of it for sure that I've seen in the past. But all of our skills have hit their points here, so it's about time we start thinking about the future. So what I'm actually going to do here, I think, is start training some of our spellcasting abilities, spellcasting in general, but also fire magic, since that will be our go-to in the future. Let's just bring that up to somewhere around 12 for now, even though it will need more later on, and invocations I'm actually going to put back on as well. Bring it up to 10. That sounds fun. It definitely is. Yeah, maybe not exactly ideal from a min-maxing meta standpoint, but I would definitely recommend trying it out for just the flavor and fun of it, because it's not very often that you'll find yourself in like crystal plate armor and still able to cast level 9 spells. It's a pretty incredible thing. In fact, just because Maxwell's patent armor was brought up earlier, can you use Divine Exegesis to get around a minus cast ego? Because I don't know if it counts as casting a spell. It's using a god ability. So that's kind of weird. Well, I might have to try that sometime. Even just figure out how to use the like cheat wizard mode to give myself the necessary items to test it out, because I'm very curious now. Huh, how about that? Of course, we get marked again as soon as we come down to layer 2, which is very unfortunate. So I'm going to run back to the stairs, hopefully not taking too much blinky damage. And is there a third stairwell I can explore? There is. That's good. Hopefully this one doesn't have a mark trap waiting for us. It does have a scarf resistance. That's nice. Nothing says friend to plants like Fireball. Ah, yes, the most plant-friendly of abilities. The funny thing about Fireball with Fedhas is you can actually fire it through plants, but the explosion can hurt plants. So, it's usable, but it's slightly scary because you definitely don't want to anger the great bushy boy in the sky. But we'll see how it goes. In general, I just love the idea that we're becoming a fire elementalist, because I feel like all of the abilities at our disposal are a little bit antithetical to some extent to our Lord and Savior Fedhas, but we need to do what must be done, right? So it is what it is, and I'm sure Fedhas will understand that we're not going to attack plants with it, we're just burning the heretics. It's very different, you see. Completely different. I cannot attack this mushroom, so we can't kind of squeeze our way past, unfortunately. And I do mean unfortunately, as we take a ridiculous amount of damage here. I want to pick up some spellcasting though. Sivmuna gives them all anyway. Exactly, that's why from a meta standpoint, probably not the best. But you think it gets around it? I'll have to test, because yeah, if so, that's pretty fun. Being able to cast spells with a minus cast ego, not many people can say they've achieved that in their lifetime. But okie dokies, we take a little bit more damage here. Need to start thinking about what we wish to do. We don't have any heal wounds, we do have fear, we do have a decent number of teleports still, so we can definitely use that. Most unexplored levels, so it's fairly likely we end up somewhere new and exciting. Maybe frightening is the better way to phrase it. In fact, we're going to be drinking a curing potion just to keep ourselves in the positives here. And we end up next to a yak pack and electric eels. Ooh, what fun. Shouldn't have stepped towards you. That was my bad. Let's use up a blinking scroll. And I was hoping to find a stairwell. Not that kind of stairwell. I guess I should have specified so that the game didn't immediately taunt us with a downstairs and a second downstairs. An amulet of regen. Now this I very much need. I mean, we just want to make briar walls and explodey shrooms and shoot things. That is, you know, all we want in life, really. I will probably end up, as we saw, throwing out some fire magic. But don't you worry, the plants will be our calling card. And in fact, I didn't even kind of realize where we were sitting at Piety. So we could call a wall of briars, which could actually save us against the yaks here. I'm going to pick up this amulet at the risk of it being a dangerous prospect, and then throw up the wall of briars here, where the enemies will have a hard time getting around them. Switch to our bow. Let's try and just weed out the yaks real quick here, as they break through our impenetrable defense. Oh no. What are you doing, yak, from the top? You can't do that. Pretty sure that's illegal. Epigile. Unfortunately so. The yaks have a bit more brains than I was giving them credit for. Oof, oof. Deep Dwarf, Demon Spawn, and Hillark all have +3 invocations, so yeah, it would definitely be good options for trying that out in the future, or at least using. Invo Gods, always highly recommended. Hillark, of course, it's hard to sell on any god except for BO. Kind of have to be the messiah your people need. But okie dokie, another teleport, probably not a great idea. At 16 health, we're very likely to just get sniped on landing. We could throw out another Briar Patch. I'm hesitant to use the Ballistimicite because unfortunately these will blow up in a 3x3 space and that can hit me. So I could just kill myself if I try and grow a Ballistimicite right now. Ballistimicite, I guess, is the right way to say that. I thought if I just said it quickly enough without thinking, it would have better results. Kind of worked, but not so much. So, I'm going to take one more step here, put up another wall, step on top of this one. Now we're really hoping to kill these sons of guns before they reach us. They do have 2 to go through. Actually, no, just 1 to go through, no matter which yak breaks first, and that one did, which is not good. Don't even have the magic power right now for another wall of briars. Let's take a second here, take a sip of the drink and think about what we're doing in life, shall we? Deep Dwarf and Hillark have other +3s as well. Demon Spawn's next best is Necro +1. Yeah, the Demon Spawn is very much just kind of neutral or slightly negative across the board, which, I mean, makes sense. They're basically a fancy human hybrid versus a lot of the more traditional races, or species, I should say, do have a little bit more theming. Can we overlap squares? I was just wondering the same thing. And what happens if we walk through the thorns? Fortunately, we don't get hurt at all. We're actually able to walk through any plants, even ones like this, which is pretty sweet. It does, I believe, slow our move speed by 50%, so it's a bit of a crawl through. But let's see. Oh wait, never mind, I can't. Right, I need one more magic. I got excited because I was hoping to just cast again, and if the squares did overlap, we're probably saved. Fortunately, make sure I really emphasize the unfortunately there. We don't get given the opportunity. So, do we teleport at 18 health, hoping that we don't land next to something scary, especially, oh gosh, not a Hydra? Or do we try and blast them? Drink a potion of magic. Unfortunately, I haven't ID'd it yet. Same thing with heal wounds. So I could hope to get one or the other. We could even turn ourselves into a tree, bringing our AC up to 29, as well as giving us some more health. So if I'm not going to teleport, that's probably my next go-to move, and then start blasting with a wand or something like this. Quaff ID easy. Never didn't have it. We do have 2 potions. I'm betting that's heal wounds and magic, right? Wouldn't that be perfect? So, I think I will commit to this. We're going to drink the potion of Lig. Bring us up to 27 health, so we're definitely not one shot away, even if we roll absolute garbage on our AC, which ideally with 29, it won't be that bad. And then, I'm going to blow this yak's mind real quick, or not. I'm going to be very careful not to hit any of my plants with acid, and smash you with that, friend. And then I'm actually going to switch over to our staff real quick. So we hit level 12. And just one more yak to take care of here. Can't talk today. Blow these sons of guns' minds. And there we go. We do manage to survive. Still on a desperate search for another stairwell up. Some level of recourse for the future. But it is what it is. And at least we're still alive. So you're all in shallow water. So I don't think I mind starting this fight. It's always tough when there are multiple eels stacked up like this, because the damage really starts to amplify, especially if we're getting lucky over the first little bit with our rolls. And it seems like, you know, this fight will be no problem whatsoever. Why even worry our sweet little heads about it? But It adds up, to say the least. Similarly, with these gosh darn blink frogs. Absolutely ruining our day. There we go. Thanks, buddies, for getting the heck out of there. Union tree form is thematically appropriate. If only Fed has supplied us with lake potions. Then I can turn to a tree for each and every encounter just to let our enemies know what's up in the world. Definitely read an ID right away here, and let's see if we were right about our guess. A coppery potion is... oh, cancellation. That's not magic or heal wounds. I feel like I've been scammed, game. You promised the good stuff. Nothing but the best. Nothing but the finest. You in tree form with your Briar Patch pals? Never ever talk to me or my son again. Fantastic. Let's drop this old leather armor. Ring of Ice, I guess we should keep around for now. I will probably switch the Amulet of Regen over the Guardian Spirit, even though it's a little bit more of a toss-up with this character in particular. Wand of Charming can probably go for now, even though I might regret saying these words in but a moment. Let's leave it there.